We've asked Jack, how long have you been ambassador?
Well, it's less than a year, maybe 6 months, maybe at push.
Well, okay. You've been in a couple of videos as well, haven't you? Like 2 or 3 videos?
Yeah.
2 or 3 videos?
Yeah.
And that, so I thought, you know, as we're moving our format into this kind of fancy podcasty, chatty session, let's pull you into
It's good.
another little... It's alright, isn't it?
Yeah, really good setup.
So let's pull you into another video and let's chat about men's mental health for 20 minutes or whatever.
Cool.
So, what's your views on men's mental health?
Straight in there.
Straight in there.
Yeah, straight
it means
in
I
there,
could just sit here and just not say anything.
I think, well, obviously with our own shared experience of like getting out and talking to people, it does feel like men are willing to talk now.
Without question.
It definitely feels like I even get that within my own sort of environment, so my work environment and gyms and whatnot. I definitely feel like if you do ask people generally how are they doing and where are they at and how they're feeling, people are starting to be a bit more honest and it definitely feels like it's progressed further than what it was, and I suppose it's the work of organisations like MANUP yourself, who have allowed people to feel more comfortable being able to talk openly about how they're genuinely feeling. Definitely feels that way.
Do you think people are listening more though?
I think some are.
I think it's changing slowly.
Yeah, but obviously there's still people who are guilty of the lip service, so it's they want people to talk, but then they're not actually responding to it, and we're not getting anywhere. It feels like we're just trudging through mud, and it's getting there slowly, but
it does feel like every time we take 2 steps, it's 20 steps back.
Yeah,
is what
it
I'm
is.
honest.
Yeah.
And the data proves that men do want to talk.
Yeah.
Absolutely, not just because obviously with the MANUP stuff, as you know, we fund the research and all this kind of so much evidence that men do and will talk when they feel like they've got permission to do that. But I think a lot of people just don't they want men to only talk about certain things, but not the nit and gritty stuff, or might be dragging them down, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and I think the modern world is always changing, and we've gone through a bit of a rough time with men almost seen as seen as the enemies. Like if you're a straight white male, or you're on the back foot just for existing, and that doesn't feel right. We should be inclusive to everyone.
I'm pretty convinced that men are the only types of people, and I don't want this to be like an us versus everyone else, but it does feel like the typical single white masculine bloke is the only type of person where you can tell the piss and ridicule them without any comeback.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like Susie Bennett once said, and I've seen the postcard where there's a postcard that it was drew by a kid, and it said, "I love everybody, including men." But it's like one of those things, if you swap the word men for black man, Asian, lesbian, trans, you can just imagine what would happen with social media.
Shadow ban, deplatformed.
No, exactly. Men absolutely can do what they want. But even like if you look at like reels and stuff like that, of just normally women showing how useless their partner is.
Yeah, totally acceptable. It's fine. It's almost like a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's just
that.
not right. And then we wonder why blokes might not want to talk to them and all this kind of stuff. So you've been ridiculed and taking the piss out of them for the last hour, God knows how long. Yeah, I think the tides are turning.
It does feel that way. The last year or so, I think I'm starting to feel a little bit more like it's turning. We just went through. I think it's post-COVID. Post-COVID has just got wild. Just some of the the new culture and this new movement of. I think it's driven by the youngsters, but I don't think kind of the public faces and the celebrities. I don't think they did any favours, But I think they drove this new culture, which wasn't really it's not inclusive, although their narrative is all about inclusion, but it's not. It's actually it excludes certain individuals and certain groups, and men were a part of that, and yeah, like I say, I do feel like it's slowly starting to turn back, yeah, we are being listened to. It feels that way.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I just like to see more people willing to listen and stop telling men how they should talk, how they should react, and how they should respond.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion. I've said it so many times on MANUP. I think like just telling men that they should cry, or they should go to therapy, or they should do this, even though the bloke's like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Exactly that. Yeah. You know, I've told you before, like I'm a manager within my place of work, and there's so many different blokes, and yeah, they've all got their own stresses and got their own different dynamics within their lifestyle, and you know, when they're struggling, I always give the same advice, you know, that I can tell them how I manage myself, but I would never put that on them and expect them to do that, because they've got to find what works for them. It doesn't work for everyone. I went through therapy last year, and I definitely found a massive benefit from engaging in it, but previously in my life I wouldn't have done. I didn't see any point in it, and I didn't feel like it was right for me, and then it changed, and eventually I did engage, and I did get a lot from it, but it's not for everyone.
Is that because you found the right therapist though?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I've had a few assigned to me over the years, and I thought all of them were wank.
Yes.
Because they're just trying to basically talk to me like I'm a woman.
Yeah.
It's like, how let's talk about your feelings. Oh, fuck off. I don't want to talk about my feelings. I want to tell you I'm just having a bit of a shit day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you don't talk to me. Don't. That's a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
Well, fuck off then.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I told you when my first session with my therapist, I didn't actually like him. Yeah. Like the first one, I thought, fuck, what have I done? And what am I doing?
Yeah.
But I held the course with it, and then by like third session, my opinion completely changed. I went, oh fuck, man, he's pretty good. Like, he does get me, and the conversations just became a lot easier once I understood how he was working, and he understood me. That completely changed. But I think initially I was just like, fuck is this guy? And what the fuck?
I think it's when you realise they're not going to chuck it back in your face as well, though. And hold it against you, blah blah blah. And I think this is the problem. I think blokes are less trustworthy. So maybe if a bloke's not if you see a bloke struggling in your life, he's a bit offish, then just earn his trust a little bit. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I think also the other special, my neck is completely screwed. So that's what I'm trying to do every now and again. Just when the BT advert, probably not PC. But I think the main thing, I think with men, especially with blokes, sometimes the best way to talk about their mental health is don't talk about mental health in the first place. They're just having a shit day. Yeah. And I think we've gone OTC, like everything now is about mental health. I was like, oh, I can't do this because I'm anxious. I can't do that because it makes me feel sad. So, well, actually, that's not necessarily mental health as in mental health issues. That's just called living. Yeah. You go into a job interview. It's good to be anxious about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think,
and that's fine.
Yeah. Exactly. But I think with blokes, we're just everything's. Am I making sense?
Yeah. No. I get it. It's like I've listened to someone recently that they described anxiety, but they like put they said my anxiety, like they owned it, like that was theirs. Yeah. And I was I wasn't rude about it, but I said like try not to say like that's your anxiety. Yeah. Just describe it as the anxiety, because you don't want to own it, because if you own it, then that becomes part of who you are. And I don't, that's it's just changing that kind of wording a little bit. Like I've got someone in my life, who's going through a massive depression, a big change in their life at the moment, and they're struggling, but they quite often their narrative is very much, they're just totally consumed by anxiety, and they say my anxiety, and they're just completely overwhelmed by it, and it's just trying to sort of change the direction of their thoughts so that they see things a little bit more positively. And when they do things which are helping them, just acknowledging that and seeing it as a positive step rather than just falling back into that negative mindset again.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I think that's the problem, especially with a lot of mental health stuff, is sometimes their condition becomes their identity.
yeah,
And that's all, and it's just like you're a lot more than that. But I think
Yeah.
the other, I think everyone can do what they want. I don't care. Life's too short to worry about what other people do.
Mhm.
But the issue, what I do have issue, and I see the knock-on effect. Sorry, with blokes, is if they start seeing somebody like that, they don't want to be seen as jumping on the bandwagon.
yeah,
So they won't say anything about it, like the whole ADHD and the whole neuro stuff.
yeah,
The amount of people I know who have clearly got something going on, they won't reach out for help because they don't want to be seen to jumping on the bandwagon.
yeah.
It's just like,
And then and then the other end of that, I know people who have gone through the ADHD process, got diagnosed, and then they use that then
Yeah.
for an excuse for everything.
yeah,
And like even within the work environment, they'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, they'll be challenged and say you're behind on your work this month,
yeah,
and they're like, yeah, no, I'm on my ADHD.
that's not me, it's that.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, like this. When you get diagnosed with something, that's for you to understand the condition and then adapt to
Yeah.
because you understand it now. You now put things in place so you can
Yeah.
function normally and deal with it better,
Yeah.
rather than using it as a means to sort of restrict yourself.
Yeah.
And I see that quite a lot. I don't know, that for me is just
Well, I think that's down to the lack of resources and the lack of education as
Yeah.
well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think what's happening is we're dishing out all of these not slogans, diagnosis, and you've got this, you've got that.
yeah,
And then everyone's up to us. We're not showing them how to deal with like stuff.
yeah,
So something like that whole ADHD stuff. Like my wife, she's got ADHD. It's the depression what really causes her issues. So help her with the depression.
yeah,
But with me, I could sometimes get a little bit close to like burning out or insomnia. So I focus just on sorting out my sleep. The rest of it actually isn't that important. Isn't that important?
yeah,
But I've managed to build resources around myself where I've had to learn that. But I think everyone else, I'm doing sweeping statements, so maybe I shouldn't do, but everyone else is, it's like they're just like, here's a diagnosis, you've got this, well done, here's your little certificate, then off you go, and then they're just like,
Yeah.
fuck. But then they're just getting sucked into these little communities, or sometimes turning themselves into mini idols,
Yeah.
especially for social media. And it's like this, and we just wonder why blokes don't want to engage with that shit.
yeah. No, I totally see that. It's again, it's just a change in society, but it's trying to. I think it will. I think it will be good to the other end. I think we're going through that period at the moment
Yeah.
where it's great. We're getting better clarity and understanding of these conditions,
Yeah,
but we're not quite dealing with it quite right at the moment. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay, understanding it and saying put these labels and whatnot, but the kind of the dynamic change isn't quite there yet. It's just that it's that rough period in between. It feels like at the moment.
yeah. But I think that it's also the people who are in between, who don't have ADHD, don't have whatever. They're just going through a real shit time.
Yeah,
I think they're actually slipping through the net, because it's just like, oh no, your issue isn't serious enough. I'm this, I'm that.
yeah,
So they're just not speaking, or they're only speaking to one or two people, but not actually resolving anything.
yeah.
And I think that's something I'm seeing a lot. It's kind of scary. We've gone on a proper tangent, haven't we?
But it's good.
No,
it's all right.
Yeah, but I think this is why I get to conversations like this, and even like not just with MANUP, but other pages highlighting conversations. So blokes just think actually, it's not just me. What feels that way.
Oh yeah, no. This is the very, very common. These conversations are happening. It's just I think people feel whether they can't speak that openly. I don't think that's actually the case. I think they can now. I think it feels like I said at the start of the conversation, it does feel like there's a change going on in society where these conversations can happen freely and people are allowed to talk openly about this sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we just need to get rid of the us versus them.
Yeah.
As well, especially in the male space. I said this in another video. What really frustrates me about the men's space, especially the men's mental health space, is there's some platforms they've got massive followings, but it's like women are the cause of the problems. No, they're not. Well, my wife causes me a lot of problems, but it's not as black and white. I think
it's not.
When you start making everything about it's everyone else's problems, we're never going to resolve anything at all.
Yeah.
I think we just need to educate that, and we need to communicate with each other, and I think that's the problem with it. If that made any sense.
Yeah, no, it does. That totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, and you're right. It's not women are the problem. Do you know what I mean? It's,
sometimes they are. Obviously, when my wife or whatever else, they are. We're always going to have disagreements about stuff, but the amount of women that have messaged like MANUP on the social media saying, actually, I really didn't realise I was treating my fella like shit.
Yeah.
Because of that, like I brushed him off. And it's like I think you must have seen it on one of the TikTok. There's a man with a reel of copper wire, and he was looking at his copper wire. He's had this copper wire or spool of wire for like 50 years,
right?
But it's now starting to run out.
Right.
And so his wife comes over, I presume wife or girlfriend, comes over and was like, what are you looking at? He's just looking at it and goes, like, I've literally got like this much left of this thing. I've had it for 40 years and I've used little bits. And like, and through his mind and what he was saying, he was like, my life is coming to an end. It wasn't as deep as that, but he was just like reminiscing.
Yeah.
And going through it. And the first thing she said was like, oh, I was a bit concerned because he was wearing a different hat. And he's like being really open.
Yeah.
I'll have to find it. I've described it probably in a real bad way.
Yeah.
But he's just like, he's got a reality check that this spool of wire is literally, is in like his phone of what, he went deep. When she was like, oh, you never wear that hat, so I thought something was wrong. Completely brushed him off.
Yeah, and missed the point. Missed the value of that moment.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And so I've seen a lot of women actually, so I asked some women what message to page of like, thank you so much for highlighting that. I feel quite bad.
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is this: some other platforms would have seen that message. They'll be like, "Here's the top things why women hate men." But at least that woman is willing to go, "Actually, I'm really sorry. I've actually been wrong."
Yeah.
And this is why education on both sexes, men and women, is key. We mustn't do that us versus them.
No,
it doesn't work. Look at history.
No, it doesn't work at all. You're right. Yeah.
You got anything more on it, or are you just gonna?
No, it just got me thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just. I think that's my goal of just getting people to listen. I've changed my lingo quite a lot. It's just we need to start working out that if you see a bloke struggling with whatever, and you say there's everything wrong, if he brushes you off, it's not because there's a dick, it's because he doesn't want to talk to you
in that moment.
It might be in that moment, or even impermanently. And is that his problem, or is that actually we need to look at it and go, actually, why won't he trust me with that? Why won't he talk to me with that? Because that's actually a me problem, not him problem.
Yeah.
And I think we need to really start having long, hard conversations with ourselves.
Yeah.
To go forwards. And that, like, let's say, like the postcard thing, when like that, I love everybody, including men. But I've highlighted that a few times, and some people are like, I don't see the problem with that. Well, that's the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah.
And so just before we draw to a closing, because we've been going for ages already. If someone's watching this and you think like just life's going a little bit shit or whatever, what would you tell them to do? It's a hard one to answer about context.
Yeah, it is. So I think I'll come back to, well, I mean, yeah, for me personally, there's lots of things that I can do to make me feel better. But like I said to you, that doesn't work for everyone. So if someone is struggling, the first port of call is to just try and talk to someone that you trust, or someone that you feel like you can really be honest with. I do feel that everyone has got someone like that in their lives, whether it be family or friends or colleagues.
I would agree with that, and I see a lot of people they're like, I haven't got anyone to talk to.
No,
Actually, I disagree. I
Yeah.
think most people do.
I think they do, and I think they'd probably be surprised, because there'll be some people who maybe have never opened up, and then there's that they restrict themselves from opening up with someone. But I think if they take that step and do open up to someone that they think they can trust, they'll be surprised with the response that they'll get.
Yeah.
Because if you trust someone and you've got that good friendship with them, then that you will get a positive response from it. So I think that's the best starting point, is to at least try and open up to one individual, and then it's just about finding what works for you. Being stressed and being anxious or overwhelmed or struggling with anything in life is normal. That is normal, but it's how you respond that's the key bit. If you allow it to consume you and overwhelm you, you're restricting yourself. There's always a way out, and there's always something that will help you.
Yeah, that's the thing, is don't try your best not to. She's going to put me off the bloody dog's barking. What was it? Just try your best not to make it be your identity.
Yeah.
When we make stuff our identity,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's dangerous.
It's dangerous, yeah.
It's say like some ex-drinkers, they can be like that, or ex-drug users. So that just becomes their identity,
Yeah.
and then it causes so much stress.
Yeah, I don't accept it. I've seen it in people before. They get overwhelmed and consumed by a depression or anxiety, and they allow it to become who they are. And I don't accept that. I don't. And people can say it's blunt or they can say it's harsh, but it's not. Like, that's not the best version of you.
Yeah.
And to be the best version of yourself, you need to overcome those things and manage them yourself better than what you are right now.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel like anyone can do that. You can. I know you can. I've been through it. I've been through depressions myself, and I've come out the other end every time. But it's always just been a case of finding what works for me, and that can develop and change as well, as it has with myself. Like there's a time when just physical exercise would resolve any sort of feelings or stress that I was having, and then that changed, and then I started talking to more people, and then I engaged in therapy, and then I started talking in group settings, and speaking with colleagues and other people, and including family into those conversations as well. So it's just about building up lots of coping mechanisms to help you along the way. That can develop over time. And then, eventually you can get yourself into a point where, you pick up on little triggers and things where you're starting to feel stressed or overwhelmed, and you can just fall back on what works, and then you're in a lot better place with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's funny, because when people always say, like, older blokes become grumpy, and I think I am one of those up to a point. I'm not quite there yet, but actually, I don't think it's necessarily turning into like a grumpy old bastard as society makes out. It's just they just tolerate less bullshit and set up more boundaries.
Yeah.
And I don't think as a society we teach people
that's okay.
That boundaries are actually quite a good thing. We seem to be living in a world now where everybody wants you on call. They want to know how big your bank account is. And that's pretty much it. Do you know what I mean? We're not teaching boundaries anymore.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing wrong to say, do you know what? I'm going to reply to the phone call. I'm going to turn the phone off. And that WhatsApp message you sent me two days ago, I'll reply to it when I've got time, because I need to look after myself more.
Yeah. And then, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I get that. I get that analogy really well. I know quite a few grumpy old men, so especially with my work setting. But it's fine. That's just how they
just set boundaries, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I respect
that.
Yeah, there's grumpy as in self-boundaries. I don't think that's necessarily grumpy. I think it's just a sweeping statement, right? Just a grumpy bastard.
Yeah.
No, he's just happy with who he is.
Yes.
He doesn't need your bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then there is also the other spectrum where they just probably hard burning dickhead as well, isn't it? So there you go.
Yeah, I've met them as well.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, on that bombshell,